What's up guys, Tougie here, back again giving what will hopefully be my quick thoughts on the latest patch and tuner update with NHL 16. Now simply put, I'll say this right from the top, the TLDR on this, and I don't even know what the hell you would call it if it's a video, but bottom line is, with this patch, be patient. Don't immediately expect to see major changes, because even if it's a positive or a negative change, it probably won't accurately represent what this game is in its current state. I plead with you to give it 20-30 games, really invest some time, play with this game. Your opinion on the game, it's going to be subjective anyway. I may love the game in its current state, you might now absolutely hate the game, but give it time before forming a true opinion on what you think this is. And I say this because a lot of people are really happy right now, a lot of people are complaining already, and I obviously don't know how many games each of these individuals have played, but again, give it time. Now before getting into the gameplay and EASHL changes, as far as the jerseys go, cool to see them in, still absolutely ridiculous that you have to go through a roster update to do it. I don't get what's up with that system and how that works, but it's pretty annoying. Regardless, EASHL. As far as the server issues go, from my experience, again, I haven't played too much. The gameplay you're seeing in the background was recorded post-patch. Unfortunately, it was only 2s. I didn't really have anybody around on that night to play. But it is, from my experience, the network issue, the server issues. I have very inconsistent internet to begin with. I didn't have an ounce of trouble. I was even losing face-offs to a computer at one point, which I hope was simply due to the network improvements and me having to readjust and not overcompensate for lag. Now, should this have been an issue in the first place? No, it's Electronic Arts. You guys should be able to afford some of the best servers in the business, but I will say this, and I'm not giving you credit for fixing an issue that should have been fixed, but I will say this, thank you if you have finally gotten off your asses, fix this, particularly the captain's lag. If it's finally gone, bravo. It took you 5 goddamn months to do it, but bravo, you finally did it. The Dangler class. Now the gameplay footage you are seeing, again, I know it's 2s, and it's not an accurate representation of what the Dangler class is, but I really enjoy it so far. And again, I've seen a lot of people complain. I was playing a drop-in literally half an hour before recording this, and you have a guy who's sitting there whining over his mic simply because he keeps trying to dangle through literally everybody and everything, and it's not working. That's not what the class is going to succeed at. How you're going to find success with the Dangler class is accurately biding your time, taking advantage of your space, taking advantage of the puck control. Yeah, you have extremely high dangling stats, but if there's a defenseman near you, you are going to lose the puck. Human or computer, you're probably going to lose the puck, and I can easily see this being a consistent issue that is brought up on, whether it's Operation Sports, EA Forum, whatever. People are going to constantly complain about this not being effective enough. Trust me, it's an effective build. We all knew it was coming. Obviously, it was in the game since the beta. It just wasn't unlocked, which is very strange. I do have one fear with it, and that is that top players, guys on top 100 clubs, are going to be able to use and abuse this build. But again, if you have a competent defender, a competent team defense, and if you want to know how to play competent team defense, hey, look, here's a basic tutorial on how to do it. Go check it out. But regardless, team defense is still going to win above all. But this can be a very efficient and effective build if used properly. Now, as far as the gameplay updates go, I don't want to go too in-depth because I don't want this video to be too long. So I'm going to be very simple and basic with my answers. If you want to know more about my opinion on each of them, just ask down below. I'll have no problem answering. But the first one, increase the attribute range to create more player separation. Essentially, this is, from my understanding, the attribute effect slider, which has always been very, very low for EASHL. They finally boosted it up a little bit. Now, I personally wouldn't mind if it was maxed out. That way you have a true idea of, hey, a power forward, his aggression actually means, hey, he's fucking aggressive, or his body checking, hey, he can actually check. Again, it's something that's really been needed for a long time. I'm glad to finally see it in, and it will create an actual change in EA SHL with each player build being, well, simply better at what they're supposed to be. Now, when talking about giving it time before you really judge an opinion on it, this is one of the biggest points. The increased range of attribute effects for goalies. It's gonna take some time before people can really say, oh yes, this definitely helped create separation, because simply put, when the new goalie system was put in, that was supposed to separate good from bad. The bottom line is, goalie is always going to be difficult as hell, and it's going to be even more difficult to truly separate great goalies from bad goalies because of the difficulty of the position, the animations you get, and the limitations of it. But hopefully, in time, this proves to be a positive change and really does help differentiate better goalies from weaker ones. Me personally, I've yet to get a goalie game in with the latest patch, but I will get back to you guys eventually on that and let you know my thoughts. Increased goalie ability to save lower shots and passes towards the net. I haven't really noticed low shots being an issue, but obviously the passes into the back of the net have been a major issue. I don't remember the last time I've played a handful of games in a night and not seen that play work at least once or twice. I'm not going to praise EA for making this change because it's something that should have never been in the game to begin with. When someone's obviously going for a cross crease, yet somehow it directs right into the back of the net, that should never have been a thing. Hey, good for you, you fixed it, but again, it shouldn't have been there. I will say this, and it's not a documented change, but I did notice some AI defenders not really mugging the back of the net and trying to own goal it like they always used to. Hopefully that's been addressed. Next up, increased referee strictness when teams are already shorthanded so that the penalties no longer go uncalled. This has been an issue for quite a while. You know, people just being able to spam whenever they've actually taken a penalty, or even shorthanded, just blatant penalties being ignored. Again, it shouldn't have been a thing in the current game to begin with, so good for you, EA. You removed it, you fixed it, but it shouldn't have been a problem in the first place, so no praise for you. These next two I'm just going to group together to begin with. It's all about stick checking, and again, I will say this is the other major one where you simply have to give it time before forming a proper opinion. I have been super critical of the stick checking in this game, and from my experience so far, again, it's a very limited amount of experience so far with the game post-patch. It seems to work relatively well, but again, I'm not going to sit here. This isn't a hill I'm going to die on and say it's improved. I don't know yet. Then again, I've always been relatively good at playing defense in this game. So for someone who's newer to the game or not as experienced or just simply not as skilled with stick checking, with poke checking, they might still be having issues and they can automatically sit there and say, oh, it's not improved whatsoever. Give it time, again, 20, 30 games, and then form your opinion. But again, it's an improvement that needed to be made, particularly with stick lifting and players getting away with spamming. The puck protect being nerfed. Now again, small sample size, I don't know if this is actually the case. Really the biggest problem with the puck protect is the fact that you could glitch through the boards to make sure that you maintain the puck. I'm as guilty as anybody as using and abusing puck protect or just holding the puck away from my opponent. Although I will say this, if it has been properly fixed, you're not going to hear a complaint out of me. I have no problem with that. It's something that should have been fixed. Not being able to knock players off the puck simply because they're leaning in a certain direction was absolutely ridiculous. And again, I can only hope as I play the game more frequently that I do see that this change has actually been implemented. So bravo to EA for this one. EA SHL AI goalie attributes. Now again, it's always subjective whether or not the other team's AI goalie is good and yours is shit, which for me happens to be the case quite a bit. I don't know about you guys. But I'll say this, hopefully this change is simply a response to really help out the problem that is human goalies quitting. Again, they've said in the past that they have made changes to make the now AI goalie a little bit worse. Hopefully now this combines with that measure and really punishes human teams with a human goalie that backs out. As far as AI goalies go, if you're not playing with human goalies, they're always going to be hit or miss regardless. I really don't think this is going to be a major change. Face-offs are now equal among all classes. apparently two-way forward and grinders still had a little bit of an advantage in face-offs. I have nothing positive to say about this. It never should have been an issue to begin with. EA, you get no credit whatsoever for making this change. It never should have been a problem to begin with. Hooray, yeah, it's been changed, and to be honest, I didn't really have much trouble having, 60-70% face-off success with a power forward, with a playmaker, with the sniper, but the fact that it was actually a thing is just incredibly disappointing. The power forward class has since been rebalanced, and of course, if you go if you go to play a game, you'll see that the attributes are all different, whether it's offense, defense, or goalie. That is in conjunction with the attribute effect slider. As far as power forward goes, I mean, it's kind of undisputed. It was the best build, the most well-rounded, particularly from the beta. It's slowly been decreased ever since the beta. Not disappointed to see it get a decrease despite it being my main build. And hopefully, again, it continues to be more balanced out. As long as the power forward, as long as you know how to use the power forward efficiently and effectively, it'll be just as dominant as it's always been. Now, the last two issues, I don't really have too much to say on it. It's never been a problem for me. The first time I even heard about the penalty box issue was the day before the patch when someone on Twitter complained about it. That was the first time I had ever heard about it. But again, they're problems that never should have been in the game in the first place. Good on you, EA, for fixing it, but you really don't get that much credit from me. And guys, what was supposed to be a short video has turned somewhat into a marathon, but for those of you who already subscribed to me, you know I tend to be a bit long-winded. But as I said at the start of the video, I'll sum it up just like this. Be patient. Don't look for specific changes because, again, you won't get an accurate representation on whether or not these problems are actually fixed and have actually been addressed. Just play the game as you normally would, and eventually you'll start to see whether or not, oh yeah, they really haven't fixed stick checking, or hey, look, AI goalies actually are worse. Just play the game as you normally would. Keep trying to improve or keep dominating, however you are, whatever your skill level is, doesn't matter. Just play the game for what it is. Boy, that was a hokey ending. But anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe for more. Of course, if you are new to the channel, there's a couple of tutorials again, as I alluded to, some GM mode as well, and there'll be some new stuff on the channel going forward. Spread the word if you would. And again, I thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.